The town of Black Hollow had one rule: never enter the hollow woods after dark. The warnings had been passed down for generations, whispered from parent to child, but no one could ever say exactly what lurked beyond the trees. Some spoke of lost souls, others of ancient spirits, but all agreed on one thing: those who wandered in at night never came back the same. Nathan had never believed in ghost stories. A rational man, he scoffed at the superstitions that kept the townspeople in fear. So, when his friends dared him to spend a night in the hollow woods, he readily accepted, eager to prove their fears were nothing more than old wives' tales. Armed with only a flashlight, a backpack and a fire starter, Nathan stepped past the tree line just as the sun dipped below the horizon. The air was cool, the forest alive with the chirping of insects and the distant hoot of an owl. But as he ventured deeper, the sounds faded. The further he walked, the heavier the silence became, until all that remained was the sound of his own footsteps crunching against the fallen leaves. Then came the whispers. At first they were faint, like the wind rustling through the trees. But as Nathan stopped to listen, he realized they were words. Muted, fragmented voices speaking in hushed, urgent tones. He shone his flashlight around, but the trees cast long, stretching shadows that swallowed the light. He shook his head, trying to dismiss it as his mind playing tricks. He set up camp in a small clearing and started a fire. The flames flickered weakly, casting a dim glow against the towering pines. Then he heard it, a soft, distant giggle. Nathan's breath caught in his throat. He turned sharply, scanning the darkness but saw nothing. He forced a chuckle. "All right, guys. If this is some prank, you got me." Silence. Then another giggle. Closer. Higher pitched. A cold shiver crawled down Nathan's spine. He grabbed his flashlight and swept the beam through the trees. And then he saw them. Pale faces, barely visible between the trunks. Hollow black eyes. Too many of them. Dozens of faces peering at him from the darkness. He stumbled backward, his chest tightening. "Who's there?" His voice wavered. The faces did not move, did not blink. Just stared. Then the whispers grew louder, surrounding him, overlapping voices speaking in a language he didn't understand. The fire sputtered violently, casting grotesque shadows on the ground. And then they moved. In a sudden, unnatural motion, the figures glided toward him, their faces stretching into hollow grins. Nathan turned and ran. His heart pounded, his breath ragged as branches clawed at his clothes, the whispering now a deafening chorus in his ears. The trees seemed endless, the darkness infinite. No matter which way he turned, the forest twisted around him, leading him deeper instead of out. He tripped, crashing to the ground. When he looked up, the figures stood in a circle around him, their mouths moving in silent, eerie laughter. Then everything went black. When Nathan awoke, the sun was rising, its golden light filtering through the trees. The whispers were gone. The forest was silent. He scrambled to his feet, his body aching, and sprinted back toward town. When he finally stumbled into the streets of Black Hollow, his friends rushed to him, eyes wide with horror. "Nathan?" one of them gasped. "Where have you been?" "What do you mean?" "I was gone for one night." His friend's face paled. "Nathan, you've been gone for 3 years." Nathan turned back toward the forest, his heart hammering. And in the distance, just beyond the tree line, pale faces watched from the shadows, their black eyes unblinking. Waiting.